cut in, but I guess I'll just keep on.
I got nothing. No. I mean, I got stuff for the match, but I'll let you.
Okay. I'll be honest. I'm getting really drunk.
Hey, so in the beginning episode, I'm sloshed, and then as it moves on, I'll sound some more sober. You'll sound more.
Yeah,
drunk.
that's exactly it. I've said fuck about 40 times already.
Oh God, man, I curse so much.
I keep saying fuck, and then I keep on saying I'm sorry, and I realize I'm still drunk, so I don't care.
We can turn back the clock of time. If we can rotate it back almost 20 years ago.
A real Donnybrook, that's going to be. Nicely executed, and down to the cabin. Here comes, all hell's going to break loose now. Anything goes here.
Welcome to the 7th edition of the Atomic Dropcast, your weekly knee to the ass bone for your ear holes. I'm Brian, and alongside my co-host Mikey.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. What we're doing here is we're taking a look back at the wrestling from our childhood from a new perspective as adults. We're recapping the action and we're giving you guys another look at the angles and the wrestling from yesteryear.
And this week, it's Monday Night Raw, number 197. That's right, we're back to the numbers, and this one is broadcasted live February 2nd, 1997, the year of our Lord.
We are in Nashville, Tennessee this week at the Nashville Arena, and we don't have an attendance for you. They don't announce it on the show. It is nowhere to be found on the internet, so there was a lot of people there that night. How you doing, Brian?
Not too bad, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Ready for a new year, recording these and kicking off our 7th episode.
A new year, a new Raw.
New Raw.
Well, technically an old Raw, I mean, because...
Yeah, that's what we're doing is we're going over the old stuff. Although it may be better than the new stuff. Up first on the show this week, we got the intro. We're coming live from Nashville, like we said, and we get the usual Raw intro video.
No cold open.
No cold open. We cut right into Sid coming out in the beginning of the show, and they said it's championship match time right off the rip.
No bait and switch, buddy.
No bait and switch here, except for last week.
And this week.
And this week a couple times.
No bait and switch, but we're going to tease the fuck out of you.
They certainly are. They're going to kick it off with Sid coming out. And they announced right off the rip later on in the show, we're going to have Dr. James Andrews giving a live update on Shawn Michaels' knee and the condition and maybe his future in wrestling.
Good news and bad news, depending on how you look at it, as JR puts it.
Well, we've got good news and bad news. They say it over and over throughout the show.
To me, the good news is Vince is not on commentary for this one. We get what will eventually become the classic team of JR and King, which, I mean, if you watch any wrestling in the 90s, good God, if you don't think that's a perfect team, just get right on the fuck out.
Well, even in this show, we see it right off the rip. They're already building great chemistry with the quips back and forth.
100%.
Brett comes out to the ring next. He is the new champion. He's got the world title around his waist. We saw last episode, which was the Final Four pay-per-view. Bret Hart won the Fatal 4-Way Final Four match by last eliminating The Undertaker after some Stone Cold interference. So Bret is the champion coming in the show. He is set to defend against the number one contender, Psycho Sid. And as he gets in the ring, he's attacked from behind by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I like a lot how this whole thing has been set up. That yes, Sid technically would be the number one contender, being that he lost the title to Shawn at Royal Rumble 1997. But given you just decided the title via a Final Four, wouldn't one of them three motherfuckers be the number one contender and not the cat that lost this shit a month ago?
I agree completely. Why you wouldn't just keep that match the way it was as number one contender and then just decide the title the next night?
And that's really what it should have been. I mean, hell, in Royal Rumble Raw, they referenced the term rubber match several times. So if you want to give Sid a rubber match, and if Shawn's not going to be in it, let the Final Four be the number one contendership, especially in a day and age when you're really, really, really fighting for ratings.
Yep.
Come out of a pay-per-view.
The Final Four was already number one contendership.
And just leave it just like that. So then this match on this pay-per-view rather than being, I mean, it still would be for the title, but there would, to me, it feels like there would be more build.
Absolutely. Now, listen, it was a good match, and we talked about it on the last episode. But at the end, you have Sid coming out, and you're trying to build a match for the next night. That works exactly the same without the title.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, here we have Austin attacking Brett from behind. Eventually, Sid attacks Austin from behind. All three men brawl, and the referees, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, everyone's out there trying to break it up. Sid looks like he legit hurts his leg, but maybe it's just good selling because he comes out later just walking fine. So bait and switch right off the rip.
Right off the rip. I think he sells it really well because I was believing it while he was down.
Yeah.
But as he finally gets up and Stone Cold's gone from the ring, Sid's in the corner with a couple refs backing him. And I can't make out the last couple words he says, but he clearly says, "That motherfucker hit me."
It doesn't seem as if this match is going to take place.
Oh, I didn't catch that, so that's great. It's definitely blatant when Sid gets in front of the camera and just yells, "Damn it, damn it, damn it." And they're even going to replay it again later in the show.
Yeah, we'll see this again.
What you have here is set up the world title match to be the opening match, and it doesn't happen. They leave you with doubt on whether or not it's going to happen. With Sid, looks like he's being injured. He does sell it pretty good. I think it's mostly in the way he's bending his knee. He's kind of bending it forward, which is awkward.
They're playing with your WCW-based emotions.
That's exactly what it's doing. If you've ever seen the clip, you're already like, "Oh, Sid, don't do that, buddy."
Fuck yeah.
And then from there, we cut right into the Shawn Michaels title drop.
And again, way too much of this piece. Can we get an editor to cut this down a little bit more?
For the love of God, please stop showing this every week. I mean, it's been 2 weeks.
And I'm the Michaels mark here. Can we cut it down more?
It's only been a week, I guess.
We've seen it on the pay-per-view again in almost full, and then now we're seeing it again. Now, they have cut it a bit from the pay-per-view, and of course, the pay-per-view's cut from the whole, but Jesus Christ, all they cut was Vince talking the first time. Can we cut it down?
Yeah. It's a bit ridiculous. I was ready to zone out as soon as this happened. But from there, they cut right into the recap of the Final Four. I like how they used still images instead of clips. I know these days with the internet is probably irrelevant because you can just Google it or find a clip anywhere of anything. But at the time, this was how they kept you buying pay-per-views. They would just show you clips and get you excited.
This definitely made the stills made me feel more at home, given where we jumped in. We jumped in at Royal Rumble, and then we saw stills for that first Raw after Royal Rumble. But of course, as we covered on episode 4 on Royal Rumble Raw, we saw footage. That was weird.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess the idea is the night after, the replay is still pretty hot.
Oh yeah, 100%, and especially this time period with the pay-per-view contracts and whatever, all that shit. There's legalities and whatnot.
From there, we cut to Kevin Kelly with Psycho Sid. Is this the first time we've seen Kevin Kelly?
100%. I believe this is the first time we have seen him in this 1997 from Royal Rumble till now, and holy shit, he ain't changed much. And I did not know. I did not know. He was down with the F back in the 7.
Kevin Kelly, you're right. He doesn't look much different. He looks a little younger.
A little. But still,
obviously, it's only been 20 years, and actually, we don't even see him in this promo.
Well, hold on. I take that back. I think we have seen him before. It was very brief in one of those Sid promos about 2 weeks ago. First time we had seen Sid post Rumble, and he asks about, damn it, he says a word, and it's like a time. He says something about time, and it's Sid's fucking trigger word, and the whole promo goes off like a fucking whispering asthmatic Ultimate Warrior about time. I believe that was Kevin Kelly there. So I think this is the second time we've seen him, honestly.
Okay. It's the first time I remember seeing him. Let's put it that way. So maybe he's just not memorable enough.
Be more memorable, bro.
This is actually a good Sid promo. I've been claiming Sid's a good promo from the beginning of this show, and yet he has not backed me up one time. Finally, we get a good Sid promo, and you know why? Because it lasted less than 1 minute.
Very quick. I have a concise promo from Sid. So
yes,
if that's all I wrote, good promo, Sid. Or as I've dubbed him, Syntax Sid.
Well, the skeptics and all the people have a little bit of... Let me do this again.
Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
He comes off and he says his leg is fine. Nothing's going to stop him from his destiny, which is winning the WWF Championship tonight. My note says, do this more. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, I kind of...
And it's the same thing we said about The Undertaker.
And Vader.
Yeah, you're right about that.
If you're big as a bitch, say less words, man. Like it's I don't think it's that hard. Look at Andre. I mean, I wasn't really alive or cognizant of the age to see a whole lot of his stuff, but I don't think he talked that much. He couldn't have. He barely fucking spoke English.
Yeah, I don't think he had much to say. When you're that big, you don't have to.
You know what I mean? What else you gotta say?
Yeah. So from there, we cut into the first actual match of the night.
We get a commercial first.
Did we get a commercial?
Your favorite part. We get a commercial.
I didn't note the commercials in this one, except for one.
Oh, I did. I got them all. So.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then you can cut in with the commercial breaks, buddy. We have our first commercial break, followed by Mark Mero versus Savio Vega, 1-on-1.
And the commercial spot was better than
the match.
than this, yeah.
But the finish comes when, on the outside of the ring, the Nation of Domination, Crush, and PG-13 start closing in on Sable, who has kicked PG-13 around like a little bitch. Sable gets in the ring to avoid them, and with no touching of anybody, the referee calls for the bell.
No one.
No one.
Like, what kind of fucking DQ is this, man?
She climbs in the ring, and the referee says, "Ring the bell, ring the bell."
Her sheer existence within the ropes is a DQ.
Maybe this is a David Arquette foreign object situation, if you ever saw Ready to Rumble. I
thankfully did not.
Oh, well, maybe there's some people on listening who will get the reference.
Oh, I'm sure. I put it this way. The reason, I'll go ahead and go on record right here. Well, I've said this part before, but I wrote WCW off the second they changed that logo because it looked too much like the Thunder logo. And I was like, all right, they're dead. And on top of that, within pop culture, I was able to see that they were rocking with such a terrible actor as David Arquette. And then,
first of all, David Arquette is a god.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, he's a champ. Sure.
Have you seen? He's a WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He was in 8-Legged Freaks.
Man, I don't want shit like that.
He was in Scream.
Yeah, as fucking Dewey or Doofy, or like he was a retard, right?
He wasn't, but the Takeoff character was.
That's in the parody movies.
The scary movies, yeah.
That, you know what? That's terrible because I fucking hate parodies. Like I hate those like spin-off parody things. So,
but anyway, as a wrestling fan, Ready to Rumble is really dumb, but it's really funny too. Anyway, when the referee calls for the bell, I gotta cut from there. I don't know where to go from there. Referee calls for the bell for no reason, no contact. So Nation just climbs in the ring, and they get close to Mark and Sable. And even though in the middle of the match, JR calls out, Ahmed just got out of the hospital in Lowell, Massachusetts tonight. Suddenly, he's in Tennessee.
Oh, and wearing
what I originally believed to be an adult onesie. I
can't even speak. Woo! It's split. It's definitely a top and a bottom.
I realized that after he started lifting it up and trying to show his abs off.
Here's what I believe happened. Ahmed had some towels
Okay.
that he had either bled on or were just naturally maroon.
Now keep in mind he's off his Prozac this week.
Well, quick sidebar, quick fun fact about that. There's that classic video of him from one of those terrible PS1 probably video games where when you choose him, you get that little vignette of him.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
In that, he also states he's off his medicine. That's just a thing Ahmed likes to say.
Ahmed likes to take his medicine for so long and then just hop off it and go wild for a couple of weeks, see what happens, maybe win a couple intercontinental titles.
Ahmed, you know what? Here, Lowell, Massachusetts. That's probably close to a beach. He got straight out of the hospital in the hospital gown, just stumbled straight into the first beach shop and found a Zubaz styled sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Made out of either terry cloth or towels. I have them written down here as, oh shit, there's an attack by the terry cloth terror. Because Jesus Christ, if that's not the softest sweatsuit I've ever seen in my life, like I have bathrobes that do not look as soft
comfortable
or as an absorbent as
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm laughing at what I believe is a onesie. And the girlfriend's watching, and she calls out and says, "It looks like the guy from Kazam."
Okay. All right, so some pre-show messages make a lot more sense right now. Not gonna explain to you fucks, but all right.
Yeah. So between Ahmed's wonderful tire, see, on the weeks where he doesn't have the red tights going up his ass, we're treated to this. Overall, Mark Merrow versus Savio Vega. What'd you think of the match?
I mean, honestly, I as far as what I took note of, I'm not referencing my notes, Paul. Of what I took note of, it wasn't anything spectacular. No, I mean, other than like, I don't want to keep like shitting on Merrow because I don't see him getting any better, honestly. No. I think we have seen, and sometime here within the next 6 to 8 months, we're gonna see the gimmick change. I don't see him doing anything great. It's Merrow is still shit. I recently re-listened to, I believe, episode 4, and yeah, I stand by what I said then. I stand by what you said then. Like, he's a guy that had some good high spots, but he's trash. And he keeps showing it more and more and more. PG-13 back in the mix, much to your dismay.
Yes.
Rocking the worst rendition of that song I've heard.
Yes, it was pleasant to the ear holes. I'm glad they.
It's no knee bone to the ass.
It's no knee bone, but it's the next best thing.
Oh man, and yeah, Merrow's high risk offense is truly lost on me, and I believe that even if I was watching this in the time period that it had aired, because I was,
yeah,
but I may have switched over, because keep in mind, the reason it's been lost on me is because this is 1997. I've already seen some ECW, which had great luchador shit. And more importantly, I switched over from fucking Merrow versus Vega and was watching the first hour of Nitro, which I was probably seeing fucking La Parka, I don't know,
Eddie Guerrero,
Rey Mysterio Jr., Dean Malenko, like
Scott Hall, Kevin Nash.
Exactly.
I mean, the best part of this match, let's be honest, is D'Lo Brown at ringside. D'Lo!
D'Lo Brown.
I'm going to hit it every week, fellas.
Hey, just keep waiting for it. Hey, just wait till this motherfucker puts on some spandex. Whew.
Oh shit, it's going down.
D-Lo, not Mike. Mikey's wearing spandex right now.
I wear spandex before we get on this podcast every week. I don't play.
Spandex and inebriation. What else do you know about this podcast other than that? I mean, that's what we do.
So somehow, some way, Mark Merrow officially wins this match. Yeah, I can't explain it.
Oh, Sable. They keep showing that clip of Sable kicking Undertaker, which looks pretty good. Because we didn't see it. It was like on Superstar or some garbage. She, you see her. She throws a foot up, all leather clad, kicks him in the fucking pectoral. He takes it, half step back, flips his hair up. I was like, oh shit! And then you cut away. We don't see what happens. Now in this match, this episode, you see what the fuck happens. It's a shit show.
It really is.
Front to back. No one knows what to do. Like, other than her attacking PG-13, which doesn't look great, no one wants to touch her to, no one wants to piss off old Golden Gloves over there who can't work for shit, but apparently can knock you out backstage.
Oh, his punches are rough. He's trying to pull back, and he's a guy who's been trained for 16 years not to pull back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where was he for the Brawl for All?
Right. After that, we move to our first WrestleMania 13 advertisement presented by PlayStation. WrestleMania 13 Heat.
PlayStation.
It's the old school logo. From there, we see Bret Hart is in the back. He's got the world title over his shoulder. He's being interviewed by JR and Lawler, who are on commentary, supposedly. Bret is not afraid of anyone. He's going to take it one match at a time and one opponent at a time. And tonight he's looking at Sid. And then after that, it's the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. He's not worried about Austin. What'd you think of the promo? And what'd you think of Lawler cracking on him at the end and shut up, Lawler?
That was the best part. He says, shut up, Lawler. Lawler says, I'm going to go back and massage Sid's knee or something. Like the Raw as, not just as we know it, but like for a certain age range, like the Raw as we remember it is emerging, and that's great. And the Raw as I remember it is Bret either being a pissant or being boring as shit. And Sean's out. He's back to being boring as shit because his idea of being a babyface is being boring as shit because Bret is, and everyone say it with me now, boring as shit. Is he a good wrestler? Sure. Is he the technician he says he is? Fuck no. Go to hell.
That's some pretty harsh criticism.
I really, and I want to restate this again. I stepped into this 97 recap thing, not being a big fan of Bret, but having seen enough things, like, man, I don't know, man, Bret, I had that WCW guilt. Like, man, Bret got a raw deal with WCW. And then,
to be fair, you've seen him in a Royal Rumble match, a Fatal 4-Way match, and a world title match, and interviews every week, of course.
That's where he's getting me. Like he's bad. He's milk. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's milk fucking toast.
I'm gonna go a little above that. I'm a little more gracious than you. You're a dick. I'm not a Bret apologist, but I think he's amazing. I think he's great in the ring. I think he could tell a great story. I think he can work with anybody. I think he is a great champion when you don't have someone who's ready.
When you don't have someone who's better.
You need someone more charismatic than Bret. I agree. But if you don't have a person who's more charismatic because they lost their smile, then where do you go but back to old trusty? And we're about to see possibly his best match of all time at the next pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, without said title. So, I don't know. Somewhere early on, I made note. I referenced. I remember. I think in the opening bout when when it was we were led to believe, when we were baited to believe that we're gonna have a title match, I was like, oh shit, it's fucking Syntax Sid versus Brett the I'm only happy with the belt Hart. And don't get me wrong, that's 100% a 2018, 2017, 16, 15, 14 thought, but I mean, I didn't like him then either. I didn't like. I stopped liking Bret Hart after him and Anvil were no longer a shitty tag team.
Folks, if you weren't excited for our main event before this show, you're certainly excited now.
Get ready. As a segue from Bret, I could not fucking talk my way out of a paper bag to a world-class champion, Rocky Maivia.
World-class talker.
Well, not yet. He's just a world-class champion at this point. Well, he's a dual country champion at this point.
Oh, he's a blue chipper. He's a rookie. He's a natural. He's a third-generation superstar. He's
doing what Bret in that promo. He's doing what Bret wished he could. He's beating up a rocker.
He's beating up a rock. There you go. The match is for the WWF Intercontinental title. Rocky Maivia against probably the most deserving challenger in some time, Mr. Leaf Cassidy.
Woo!
What does everybody want?
Leaf. Jesus Christ. Leaf Cassidy, man. And then, I mean, there's a lot of interruptions and a lot of matches for this entire card. But fucking A. This one starts off right off top.
Oh, there's so many. Let me cut to the finish and we'll get back to it.
Yes, sir.
Rocky mounts a comeback at the end after being down for 90% of the match. He hits a crossbody from the top rope. He breaks up his own pin at 1, gets up just to hit the shoulder breaker on Leaf Cassidy, and then gets the 3 count to retain the WWF Intercontinental title. Go ahead, sir, with the first interruption of this match. One of many.
I mean, it's probably the best interruption for a match.
Oh, amen.
So they introduced Sunny, apropos to fucking nothing, and then within the commentary, you find out she's going to be the timekeeper.
Yeah, even King didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah, he stumbled on it, but hey, it fits his character. Like we talked about before, he's only a few months away from just screaming puppies every 10 seconds. So
yeah, absolutely. So Sunny comes out. We find out she's the special timekeeper. Previously, she was the special guest ring announcer. I guess she didn't do very good. She did say mosh and thrash, so obviously they moved her over to, hey, she can ring the bell, right?
Oh, it was great. And at the end, you know what she does? She fucking bangs that bell again.
Wow.
Good
How does
job,
she do it?
Sonny.
I hear she's banging a lot of things these days.
Hey.
And in those days. Hey. Anyway, second cut in for the match is a Hunter Hearst Helmsley interview. He's again being interviewed by the commentary team.
During a match, Jesus Christ, you can't have someone put a mic in his face. You gotta take the commentary team, a 2-man team at this point, and take them away from the match.
The one that's right in front of them, that everybody in the arena is watching.
Telling everyone because no one in the arena can hear the commentary, so everyone at home knows now this match is dog shit and means nothing.
Absolutely. Yep, so we get a Hunter Hearst Helmsley interview. He calls Rocky lucky for winning the Intercontinental title. He calls out Gold Dust, says they have unfinished business. And then we go back to the match for about 10 seconds.
And it's slow.
Yeah, it's super slow. I'll say this. Rocky looks lost, and Leaf Cassidy carries this and basically jobs out the Intercontinental Champion. Yeah. 90% of this match, he just dominates. And Leaf Cassidy at the time is not a name that anybody recognizes should be beating the Intercontinental Champion. Like if that was Hunter Hearst Helmsley in there, he would be dominating Leif Cassidy.
100%.
Yeah, I get that he's a rookie, that he's green and all those things, but it's to an exposing level in this match to where you can see, wow, he's really not that good.
This match just proved, moreover, JR's a fucking pro. like he wasn't covering up for a lot, but he was trying.
Yeah, 100%.
There's some really bad shit that if you were young and dumb, you'd have completely washed over just because of some shit JR said. Like, I think he was killing the game. He really did everything he could for this one.
Oh, absolutely. JR is on top of it. He's trying to make The Rock look good. He's pushing him to the fucking moon. And so much so that I was like, I'm eye rolling.
Well, and having to do an interview with fucking Triple H in the middle of it, you know.
Oh, it's going to be tough to keep up with it. From there, we get Jerry Lawler on the outside. They cut to the commentary table, and he's bickering back and forth with a fan who's holding an ECW sign. Jerry cuts a promo on ECW, and in reality is doing them a favor, obviously, which they're setting up. Because at this point, I didn't know what the fuck ECW was. Well, maybe I did at this point, but a year prior, I had no clue, and I'm sure a lot of fans didn't know. So, yeah, they're pushing ECW, and Jerry Lawler's, kind of berating them, but in reality, everybody at home is saying, well, what is that? I'm going to look into that.
Exactly, and that's clearly setting something up.
We see Goldust come out with Marlena. They show clips from Final Four, not clips. They show images, stills, when Goldust distracted Hunter during his match with Rocky for the Intercontinental title. Goldust comes out, and he's interviewing with Kevin Kelly, who's in the ring. So this is definitely the first time we've seen
Kevin Kelly. Yeah.
He's going to interview Goldust and Marlena. Goldust comes out. Love his entrance. It's still way over the top.
It is the little bit less creepy Undertaker entrance at this point.
It is. Basically, Goldust just says that Hunter is in a lot of trouble, and then he calls out the woman who grabbed Marlena and thinks Hunter's a part of it. Then Kevin asks Marlena questions and says, Marlena, you have never really talked out loud to us. Why don't you clarify whatever you want to say? Marlena clarifies Goldust's sexuality, which is kind of
hammers down on it a little too hard, honestly.
Out of left field, and
it's just like who asked?
Yeah, I'm assuming that had to do with a lot of questions being asked behind the scenes, getting angry letters.
Oh yeah, but I'll say this: much like Undertaker, Vader, so on. I felt Goldust got a tiny bit wordy here, but not enough where he went overboard.
Yeah, I agree.
They passed it off to her at the perfect time. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but if you're gonna give someone an extra who is not a worker,
yeah,
if they can't talk, why are they there?
I don't know.
I guarantee you, Marlena wears the same size dress as Jimmy Hart.
I think the idea is to clarify his sexuality, and then when it wasn't obvious, they had to come out and say it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I don't think it was ever intended to be obvious until
they got in trouble
the
for
letters. Yeah,
yeah, there's record of them getting a lot of issues. So Marlena says that Goldust is all man from head to toe.
He is
all man.
His masculinity is not in question.
It is not. She says that he's more man now than Hunter will ever be. And then that's what sparks Hunter to hit the ring. He comes in and hits Goldust with a pedigree. And Marlena slaps him across the face. And here comes China through the crowd. I'm sorry. Here comes that woman from last night. That giant woman.
Woman, as King says. Woman.
Yeah. Is that a woman? China grabs Marlena and ragdolls her around the ring pretty good. It's a pretty good sell. It was pretty aggressive. It looks good. China looks huge compared to Marlena here.
Ahmed ain't got nothing on Marlena when it comes to Wedgie Watch 2018. Man, that's a G-string. And before you ever see her ass, you see a lot.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, no, man, they are using every bit of their, I think, PG-13 rating or PG-14 or TV-14 maybe TV-14 rating for this segment because Marlena is just all out.
All out. She has fallen all out of her dress, and as China picks her up, her dress just rides all the way up to, and we definitely get quite a few peaks.
Well, and not just because it's a more favorable thing to see, but I do want to harken back on one of my pet peeves I've mentioned, I think last episode.
Mm-hmm.
When you get knocked down, do not fix your gear.
No.
You're knocked out. You're punch drunk. You're something. And she didn't. She didn't touch that shit.
No, yeah. Ahmed can't help himself but pull his fucking tights out of his ass.
As he's getting ready to go up for the Dominator, he's got to pick Reggie.
Yeah, but Terry, meanwhile, or Marlena, is fine. Yeah, no. I thought it was a good segment. It definitely continued the story. Gives you China's second big appearance. It's exciting, and Marlena sold it great. Goldust eventually gets up and helps and carries Marlena out, and the fans also got an eyeful.
Indeed.
From there, I mean, do you want to cover anything else on the segment? What did you think of it?
No, I like the segment a lot. Especially in going back to like Marlena's size. That's especially highlighted when you get China, who just looks jacked to the gills in there. So I mean, it sells very sincere. And looked like it was literally dangerous for Marlena. So that's a great building block for this feud that was previously paused for a moment, but now is clearly back on.
Right, absolutely. Like you said, Marlena is a great victim, and it's not going to lead to Marlena versus China in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, Goldust has to defend her. It's going to be interesting, and somehow China got out of jail last night because everybody wanted her arrested. Call back to last show.
You're in jail. Well, that's where you ought to be too. She'll have charges filed on her. I guarantee
I still
that.
wonder. It'll probably be an episode or two before we get her name, and I've always been fuzzy on why that name, but maybe there'll be some context when we get to that reveal.
I have no idea. Maybe because she's so big and China's huge. I don't know.
Because it's a big country.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if that's the reason, that's terrible.
Boogity, big lady, big country.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, from there we cut into a tag team match, and wow, this is a fun one. We get the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, who previously debuted on Raw a couple weeks ago, and they're going to go head-to-head with the Hardy Boys, a very, very early incarnation of the Hardy Boys.
A very young and spry Hardy Boys.
Yeah, they've got to be like 18 or 19 here.
Yeah, easily. I will say though, Matt still looks a little pudgy. Like he just always had a little bit of pudge to him.
Yeah, I think he's the better wrestler overall. Jeff is just like we talked about Mero. He's a spot monkey, but unlike Mero, he can connect to the crowd.
How about he's a hell of a spot monkey? I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
Oh, he goes big. He's basically a stuntman at this point.
He goes big, and he also goes home a lot.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, the Headbangers end up winning this one. They're going to go over here when they hit some awesome double team moves in a row.
Their timing is incredible on that powerbomb leg drop.
Spot on, dude. It's 2 weeks in a row. It's looked so good. They hit a nice brainbuster combo where one guy jumps off the top rope, the other hits the brainbuster and drives him down. And it's phenomenal. They pick him right up from there, hit the powerbomb leg drop for the win. It was a great spot. The Headbangers look like $1 million in this match.
Oh, 100%. And, the Hardy Boys, of course, we all know what they'll end up being, but they feed to them pretty perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Hardy Boys didn't get an entrance. So you kind of knew what was coming right off the rip. It's funny seeing them this young because, they're going to change the gimmick so much in like a year.
Yeah, but keep that horrible name.
Yes. I like the teeny bopper gimmick where they've got the tights on just as Matt and Jeff. We're the Hardy Boys.
It's kind of like the MTV updated version of the Rockers, really. It's the boy band of the Rockers.
That's exactly what I got from it. Is super poppy. But yeah, they're doing the job here. Basically, they are down 90% of the match, but all the offense they get, Jeff gets it. Did you notice this?
No, you know what? I mean, because I really didn't, only because and that's my biggest gripe with this match. It was a pretty good TV match, and no one in the programming department thought so because they interrupted it with everything.
Ridiculousness. Yeah. Go ahead and explain what came.
All right, so we get the split screen. We get a Nation of Domination promo coming from the back. Farouk says it's a pretty good promo. He doesn't stumble as much as normal, and he says everything he possibly can without calling Ahmed Uncle Tom once again.
That's exactly it.
I guess that's a buzzword now, and it's been stricken. He can't use it anymore. Even though that was kind of the big tag phrase they were using leading into Royal Rumble, but he challenges Ahmed to a Chicago street fight.
Chicago street fight. He doesn't say when.
Yeah. Not then the commentators guess. Well, could that be WrestleMania 13? Which
it's got to be.
It's in Chicago.
It's got to be. Wow, a Chicago street fight, King. That's a great match. JR pretends like he's seen 40 of these things.
Yes. Yeah, like it's as common as the Royal Rumble. It's coming around every year.
Every year.
Everybody remembers Chicago Street Fight 12, right?
Yeah, that's it. I thought it was a pretty good promo by Farouk. He says that Ahmed's not really from the streets. He's like, try living in a 2-room house with 7 kids. Farouk tells you he's struggling. He's doing the struggle bus.
but now he's rocking around with all these dudes in suits. So what happened, Farouk? I mean,
no doubt.
Must not be struggling anymore.
Call back to earlier in the show, we forgot to mention that Farouk was standing over the entranceway when Savio was wrestling.
That's right.
Flash Funk. What'd you think of that? It's kind of like now last week he accepted him. This week he's overseeing him.
Yeah, I guess what they're going for, and it kind of sells like, just the leader of the group and kind of a, I don't know, like cohesion. I wouldn't even say cohesion. Maybe like, I don't know, just like that he's almost a taskmaster. Like he's just watching over which clearly he's not, as I interrupt my own sentence because he keeps letting PG-13 sing that fucking song.
Yeah, no doubt. I like how you ended a previous show with that.
Yeah. You know what? It was so crazy. I went looking for it, thinking I was gonna have to rip it from a show.
Yeah.
Because their live rendition of it is so terrible.
It's hard to find.
Well, I had no idea there was a real recorded version of that. So someone paid for studio time.
Oh, 100%. I'm listening to it and I hear the Nation of Domination. And I'm like, all right, cool, awesome. I turn it up. I'm in my car. I'm on my commute. I'm getting into it. And then I hear PG-13. I'm like, this motherfucker.
That makes putting that on there even better, right there.
Absolutely. It got me. It got me. Oh, so good. For those of you who don't know, I kind of came up with the idea. I'm I kind of came up with this whole concept, and Brian is the producer. He does all the editing, all the music, everything you hear. He's a mastermind behind all that. So all the music at the end of the show, it's awesome. It's spot on. And
then so you can see that with that being the case, there's like a disconnect sometimes between he may not hear what I've put on the end of something until
I hear it, until we put the show. You put the show out. Yeah. It's awesome. And I'm a super mark for ourselves. I listen to every show.
It's quality control.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Headbangers and Hardy Boys, pretty fun match. It's cut in by Farouk doing his promo. He challenges Ahmed to a street fight. And the commentary fills us in that it's going to be at WrestleMania 13. I'm psyched about watching WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, especially given it's pretty early into this podcast because we did start at Royal Rumble, but it's the first one for the podcast. I mean, it really should. Granted, it's probably it's not going to be nearly as big as they are these days. And
No. This is in my childhood. This is the first WrestleMania I saw live. I am so psyched to see it again.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. I saw the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. That's kind of what put me in as a fan. And these days, people eviscerate that match, but I hold it near and dear.
Oh, I still love that match. I will say, it's a little to today's standards, it's a little slow. But I remember watching that match on. I hope I haven't told this already, but I remember watching that match on a VHS tape rented from Hollywood Video, long gone now. My stepdad had a fancier VCR. We just moved in with him. He had a fancier VCR than I had ever seen in my life, and it had a toggle wheel, and you could slow-mo, reverse, and fast forward. And man, I watched the finish of that match at every possible speed you could see it at.
How much time was really left? No.
We got an abacus out doing the math and shit.
You start a stopwatch at the ring bell.
Like, why wasn't Sonny the timekeeper? If Sonny was a timekeeper, this never would have happened.
I just imagine you with the meme with the girl with all the mathematical equations in front of her face. You're just trying to figure it out.
Standing in front of the TV. But the big thing was really though, just even though I didn't hate him as much then, but just I loved watching Brett get kicked in the face over and over and over and over again.
I'll tell you, for as much as Sean and Brett hated each other, they were so good together.
Well, and at that point, were they at each other's throat already?
I don't think they were ever fans of each other.
It doesn't seem like it. I mean, if ever at all, it had to have been like way back, Heart Foundation and the Rockers.
Exactly. It had to be the late 80s, early 90s. And then when Sean broke out Intercontinental title stuff, that's when he kind of started showing his attitude.
Well, and there's got to be, because there's a lot of talk about, New York and WWF being like the big man territory. So Brett, to get that title, he's one of the first.
Oh, he is the first.
Yeah, the smaller guys. So then for Sean to come in, and let's be honest, to me, when you boil it down to work rate, Sean's got him beat tenfold.
Sean is the best worker of the 90s, period.
Oh, 100%. So I mean, there's probably there was probably some deep-seated resentment in that,
Yeah, and that's just our opinion, guys.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that General.
I'm sorry, second best. There is D'Lo Brown.
Oh, you cannot discount the Brown.
I think the list goes D'Lo Brown, and then Shawn Michaels, and then Kurt Hennig, and that's your top 3 90s workers.
You heard it here first, folks.
Hot takes, pro tips.
It won't be the last time you hear it here.
No.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. You'll hear it again next week and the week after. Every time they put D'Lo on a TV screen, I'm screaming his praises.
Yeah. So the rest of the interruptions, just to run through them real quick. So we already break in for a promo. We jump into a commercial, which whatever, those happened in this time. Well, hell, still to this day. So they jump into a commercial. We come back from whatever length that commercial spot was on regular TV. Of course, we're watching on the network, and we still had to see a commercial. It's like a Twix and an Army commercial, and I had to make a quick little note for our running gag that the Twix is still around, Army's still around, Western Union's still around. They are getting that long-term ad revenue.
That's it, man. That's the secret. You add with WWF, and by the time they're WWE, you're fucking golden.
Oh, hell, even now, just jump on, sponsor a pay-per-view now. You're potentially gonna have that ad for 10 years.
I didn't catch that in the match. I caught that after the match, in between segments. But I did take a note that they call them Twix cookie bars, and not Twix like they do these days.
Well, but it was funny though. They do that, but it's also funny because they're still working that stupid left and right gimmick.
Back then.
Yeah, there's some mention of a left and a right.
Oh, okay.
It's not as pronounced as they do in the recent years, but maybe that is at the end of the match because I have that toward the end of my.
I'll be honest, Twix is on the map for me because of the left and right shit. I mean, How many candy bars can you think of on the top of your head that you remember another commercial for recently?
The Snickers ones stick out because.
Yep, there you go. Snickers and Twix, and that's about it.
That's about it.
When's the last time you saw a Butterfinger fucking commercial?
When it had
Bart Simpson
in it. Well, that's the thing. Other than, and we're getting way off wrestling here, but other than getting the tax write-offs, for losses paying for marketing, I don't understand why some of these, like, why is Twix even still advertising? If you don't know what the fuck a Twix is, like,
listen, there's a whole new generation to introduce Twix to. A lot of kids are watching WWF.
Those kids, all they need to do is walk in a gas station. They'll see Twix everywhere. They got 75 flavors now.
To be fair, Twix is amazing.
Oh, hey, the white chocolate Twix. I'm a big fan. And also a big fatty.
And from there, is that the only other interruption?
Yeah, well, that's it, except for, of course, we have the commentators the entire time. They're not paying any fucking attention to the match.
No.
There's very little match. So it's the promo and then the rest of that stuff on top of them just talking about fucking WrestleMania 13 the whole time. You kind of, I don't know. I understand they got to sell the shit, but damn, you've got a match in the ring. Let's do a little better, folks.
And a fun match.
Probably one of the funnest on the card, save maybe the main event or so.
Well, I think it's the next one, but we'll get into that.
Next up, we get another fake out from Syntex, Sid, and Brett, the I'm only content with the title Hart.
Yeah, we get Sid's second entrance of the night. They cut back to the first time when Austin attacked Brett from behind, and the match was kind of canceled, and they cut Austin attacks Brett again. Brett's coming out for his entrance. Sid's already in the ring. He's walking through the backstage. They're doing the whole from the locker room all the way through Gorilla deal. He gets to Gorilla position, and Austin blasts him through the door. It doesn't take long before Sid pops out from the ring into the back. He had to, as the second he saw Austin, he had to sprint at full speed.
Oh man, he made it there. Like, that's the only, I loved this segment, and
I did too.
The only thing that took me out of it just a tiny bit is how fast Sid got there.
He's fucking 7 feet tall. He didn't run a fucking 4.40.
Well, and he's got a bum knee. How'd you get?
And he's selling a knee injury, and he gets back there in 20 seconds. So what happened was, he did his entrance, his music stopped, Bret Hart's music started, and he started his way to the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which had to have ruined it for the live audience.
Austin attacks Bret backstage. He's there at the gorilla position with Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe. Vince McMahon even comes from behind gorilla position out to try to break up the fight. And Sid pops out from behind the curtain in less than 10 seconds. He attacks Austin from behind, tries to break up the fight, and all hell breaks loose backstage.
Yeah, great segment. And even dumping to commercial like they do, perfect.
Yes, it is. Honestly, it works towards the main event. They're delaying it for the second time, but they're promising. I apologize. That comes next. We cut to Gorilla Monsoon and Kevin Kelly backstage. Kevin Kelly is all fucking over this show.
It's a big night for Kevin.
It is. It's probably his biggest night of his career at this point. These days, he's over there doing New Japan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's on the English commentary in New Japan. So anyway, Gorilla Monsoon and Kevin Kelly backstage. Gorilla Monsoon announces that we don't tease stuff here in the WWF.
We don't bait and switch, buddy.
We don't bait and switch ever. Not like last week when we told you Shawn Michaels would face Psycho Sid. No.
Not like we've done this entire show so far.
We don't tease and not deliver, says Gorilla. We're going to have Sid versus Bret, and I guarantee it. And he doesn't say why he guarantees it. He doesn't say anything about Austin. He says, Austin is out of line. He's this close to going over the edge. And then he doesn't announce what he's going to do about it.
And then, again, they kept it quick, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was just my 2017 or 2018 attention span. But anytime they keep the attack, and especially when it comes to dialogue, anytime they keep it quick and concise, I mean, it feels so much more real, man.
It does, but Gorilla Monsoon is a good promo. So
he is, but as we've seen leading up till now, they've had the tendency to let things wander, and with this one, I don't think they really did. Like this one, he said what he had to say, and they got out of there, quick.
To me, it didn't work. Gorilla,
Really?
Yeah, Gorilla's always been a very professional. I say always. He's been commissioner for like 6 months, but he's always been a very professional. This is what's going to happen. Blah blah blah. But this time, he just feels super emotional, and it doesn't work for me because why would he be riled up about a world title match on Raw?
All of a sudden, he's invested. Yeah. Well, you know what? And
but at the Royal Rumble, he's not as emotional when the pay-per-view main event screwed up.
Well, and one thing too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's a commissioner. I think he's the president.
He's the president. Yeah.
So that makes more sense. That makes sense that he would be. I didn't peep that. And that's a great point. That he should continue with that like super professional demeanor.
I agree. He should be on there saying, "Listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to ban Stone Cold from the arena. We're going to have a world title match, and I promise you people it's going to happen, or your money back, and then have it happen."
Wait, you twist my arm. I now hate this promo.
I'm sorry to change your mind, but
I do find it hilarious. Like there's a WCW shot in there. Like, come on, man, you got Gorilla Monsoon taking shots at him.
Yeah, after last week, you guys fucked everybody.
Well, and you jump back a few years, and you got the Gorilla and Brain show or whatever that shit was called, and he's like the lovable one, and now you're taking shots at the competition.
That's it. I don't know. For me, it didn't work. I'm glad it did for you at the time. I'm sorry I fucking ruined it for you. But from there, we move on to a singles match, and one that I enjoyed very much. The Owen Hart versus Flash Funk singles match. It lasts about 8.5 minutes. I was a fan of the match. Again, they're cutting out a million times, and that's a running theme on this show. They're constantly cutting out to something else, an interview, or in this case, a phone call. But we'll get to that at the end of the match. Owen shoots Flash Funk off the ropes. British Bulldog, who's at ringside, and we'll get to that in a minute, why he's at ringside when he didn't start there. Bulldog jumps up on the ring apron, hits Flash Funk in the back of the head with Owen Hart's Slammy Award. Owen hits a spinning wheel kick, goes for the cover, and British Bulldog holds down one of Flash Funk's feet from the outside for the pin. After the match, Owen Hart is very angry, pissed off that Bulldog helped him win because he felt like he had it. A little quid pro quo from what's been going on in the recent weeks. What did you think of the match, Brian?
I mean, I liked the match. I hated the finish, but I really dug the match. There's some fun stuff in here. So much. I mean, I took some notes.
Paul.
I took some notes specifically because I wanted to like say some of these things, some of these quotes from the commentary. Actually, I missed a few earlier that were good, but anyway, you had informed me that Funk's dancers were called the Funk Dancers.
I did.
I don't remember hearing that ever, but I knew that because you told me. And but so the first reference I've ever come across for it is JR telling King, or no, King telling JR, "You think I could get some Kingettes?" And JR responds, "They wouldn't look like that. They'd be a little, they'd be a little more important."
Oh, brother.
I was like, "Oh man, that shit would not fly these days. That's fat shaming."
Yeah,
sir.
not at all. I'm glad I could help you out with the reference, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have caught that if you hadn't previously told me that. But yeah, first time and now here's the thing too. Having gone back prior to the start of this podcast, I had gone back and tried to watch some of the ECW stuff on the network, and I can't get through it because they have all the unlicensed music they've changed to, and they drown it out, and it's just bad, especially with matches like the original Gangsters or New Jack where they blare the song the entire time. So I don't know if this is that case, because I did notice a difference in like an audio change, that the crowd instantly, without actually seeming like they got louder, the crowd got louder when the music stopped. If this music that we heard is Owen Hart's theme song, it is the worst I've ever heard.
It was certainly his theme song at this point, yes. It was his singles theme.
Man. It's so bad.
And that's the reason they played Bulldogs when they came out together.
Yeah. And Bulldogs, it works. It's not like the most hype thing ever, but it works.
Oh, he's super British.
he's also super bizarre.
That's his gimmick. He's a bizarre, strong Englishman.
But you know, I like the match. The main thing I did not care for was in the finish. I'm cool with the slammy hit and all that, and the pin and Owen going over, but I didn't like him grabbing the ankle. Why?
No, I didn't either.
You just clocked the dude. Like, why do you need to grab the ankle?
I don't get it. It didn't do much for me either. Right in the beginning of the match, JR announces that, by the way, Marlena is coughing up blood from the China attack, and she is going to the hospital.
Yeah, so even more suspense on that whole story.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as far as the match goes, Owen Hart and Flash Funk, what a great matchup. They start off a little slow. I don't know. I've been watching wrestling for too long, but at one point I really appreciated the slow wrestling start, the lock up into a arm bar, into a this and that. But at this point, I was kind of bored of it. At the beginning,
I was all right with it because as long as they don't draw it out too long, I'm always okay with a match starting that way if the two guys are like known for that kind of thing. But the one thing that struck me super odd and really bothered me toward the end of one of those chains, Funk, I basically kind of hip tossed Owen, but like with his ankle.
Yeah, super weird.
Like. It was the weirdest thing. How does that physically work? I was just thought to myself, I was like, oh shit, man, somebody call Cornette.
Leaf Cassidy did a similar move earlier in the night where instead of a Russian leg sweep, he flipped the guy over with his foot. And it was a pretty good spot. But yeah, I noticed that too. They cut through in the middle of the match, and they show the clip of Owen eliminating Bulldog in the Royal Rumble. We've seen it every Raw since. Yeah. But I'm glad finally they're giving Flash Funk someone to shine with Owen Hart.
Yeah, and it's a small thing. Talking about watching too much wrestling, it's a very small thing, but just to keep big up in Owen Hart here, as we've been for all these episodes, how amazing he is. There's a spot in there where he goes. He's going to. I think he's snatching Funk back and like slamming him to the mat with. Grabbing him by the head and slamming him to the mat. And the first time he goes to the back of the head to grab a handful of hair,
but he doesn't have any hair.
It's not there. So the second time around, like a pro, he goes to do it again. He's got the fist on the back of the head, but he actually opens his hand up and actually palms his whole head
and slams him
like fingertips on the forehead, and then does it. I was like, see, there you go. That's quick learning on the fly, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff. This match was cut into by a couple things. We already talked about the Royal Rumble clip, and then we get JR saying, King, there's someone on the phone for you. Here, talk to him. And they play it over the air, and it's King talking to Paul E. Dangerously Heyman / ECW owner, operator, executive producer.
Whatever you want to call me, sir.
It was a fun phone call. Basically, Jerry Lawler bashes ECW. He earlier in the show, as we covered, invites them to Raw to show up and do whatever. And Paulie calls in to accept the challenge and say that they will be here next week on Raw,
which is so crazy because I remember the episode that they're on vaguely.
Yep.
And I don't remember it being set up in any way. I thought, like, what was so great about it is they just were in the crowd.
I agree. I thought it was set up by them showing up at a show, but maybe I'm thinking of something different.
Yeah. Well, there's that old territory thing too. You hear in shoe interviews, wrestlers tell like if someone was encroaching on someone else's territory, they just send their biggest guys down there and sit them right in the front row as an intimidation tactic. So maybe over the years like those stories being told and this thing just kind of got conflated together.
That could be the case. I know there was a deal in ECW where the XPW guys were in the crowd and it caused a fight. But we're not here to cover ECW in 1997. We're here to cover WWF. And ECW will be here next week in the Manhattan Center in New York.
Because if we were, it'd be a short podcast.
It would be. Yes, we'd be done in a couple of years.
It would be called Time is Running Out.
We do see a point in the match where Owen goes to lock in the sharpshooter. He's distracted by Clarence Mason, who jumps up on the ring apron. Flash drop kicks Owen to the outside from there, and he hits the turnbuckle and he does a flying dive to the outside. This is where Bulldog finally comes out, whereas he didn't accompany him to the ring, and he actually yells at Clarence Mason and sends him to the back while staying at ringside. Super weird.
Well, I'd have for me. If I'm watching this right, for me, this is a dollar late, a day short, because we've already seen Bulldog and Owen go against the Nation with Clarence, with them, and not with Bulldog and Owen. For me, I feel like this is them writing Mason off of being with them.
For me, sorry, I had to get that in there. For me, I feel like this was just Bulldog trying to pull every single thing that Owen's been pulling on him week after week after week. And at the end, he does the whole deal where he costs Owen, or he helps Owen win the match, so Owen can't say he won.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was what it was. It was super weird to me that he would send Clarence Mason back for no other reason than he distracted him for 2 seconds. And then, after all of that, we're cut into another interview. Stone Cold Steve Austin is backstage, and he's going to interview with the commentary team. So far, almost every match, if not every match, has had an interview cut in.
Yeah, and then this one, once again, it's kind of a theme so far on the podcast. Man, small slip, but basically, I thought it was a great promo.
Oh, I did too. He's full-blown Stone Cold here.
What you want, son? You got a question or
Yeah.
what?
He believes he being Austin, believes that he should already be the WWF champion. He won the Royal Rumble. There is no replay rule. And Shawn Michaels hurt his knee and went home. So the champion leaves. The number one contender should be the champion. He believes he's the number one contender. Austin says he won't stop until everyone in the WWF knows that he believes he should be the WWF champion. And he is pissed off.
And clearly, Austin won't stop until everyone in the world knows that the WWF does not have an instant replay.
No, he's been on that shit every week.
He is hammering that shit in, man. One thing I did notice is, like, as far as like moving forward, what we know will happen and what we'll see. And I know it's not the first time he's said it, because I believe he says it on the classic King of the Ring Austin 316 promo. But he hits my only complaint about the promo, he hits the bottom line 3 different times within like 6 sentences.
Yeah. But overall, it was a good Stone Cold promo.
Oh, it was great. His yelling his anger felt real. It was.
He's finally finding his footing as this character, 100%.
Oh yeah.
That's basically all I got for the match, other than to say I'm pretty excited about the ECW deal next week. I knew it was in '97. I didn't realize it was this quick into the show and this quick into the year. So I'm pretty stoked for next week already.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I mean, because honestly, what I know and can remember of ECW's, trajectory,
yep.
This is pretty much their last shot over the bow. After this, I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who will correct me. There's probably a few good pay-per-views, but we're not far from them getting on TNN and then just the whole thing going downhill.
Yeah, it's this is kind of their comeuppance, and they're about to peak right here.
Yeah, that's more concisely put. That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited because my second favorite wrestler after D'Lo is Rob Van Dam. So I don't know if he's on this next show, but I know he's going to be on Monday night pretty quick because he's going to do the Mr. Monday Night gimmick.
Much like the signage we've talked about previously, and I don't know if it's plants or intended or they just let more in this time, but did you notice there's a lot more, not just the behind the Jerry, the King Lawler deal with those 2 signs, but there's a lot more ECW signs in this crowd.
There's a ton. And we're in Nashville. We're not in fucking Philly. We're not in New York.
Yeah, so I wonder if they just pass those shits
It's
out.
probably, it's got to be a plant. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of USWA signs, but
Yeah. Well, and you'd think PG-13 would go over crazy.
true facts. From that match, we cut into what is the second to last match of the night, and quite the co-main event, if you want to call it that. Bart Gunn comes in to face Hunter Hearst Helmsley. This match only lasts about 4.5 minutes. At the end, Goldust shows up, chases Hunter Hearst Helmsley out of the ring and through the stands. Bart Gunn wins by countout. My only question is, how in the hell does this match not get disqualified as soon as Goldust gets in the ring, when earlier Sable climbed in the ring and the match was called? Where's the continuity?
As like the old school, like the 70s, if you throw somebody over the top rope, it's a DQ. Like they just change that right in the middle of the show.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And Bart Gunn gets it here somehow on two completely different results for the same situation.
Well, the biggest thing in this entire match for me is Honky Tonk Man is alive, folks. We thought we lost him at the Final Four.
He has reappeared after his crazy night at the Final Four pay-per-view. After he showed up and then disappeared in the middle of the match. Not even the middle, beginning of the match. He's finally showing back up on the TV, and he's still looking for his guy. It's like he didn't miss a beat.
Oh, man, and it's the worst shit ever. Just stop.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Honky Tonk Man's on commentary the whole time. Basically, he's always on for Triple H matches.
Well, yeah, and clearly to make you think he's going to go with him, but I wondered, because it's Bart Gunn, and we have not yet, since we started this podcast, starting at Royal Rumble 97, we have not yet seen Billy. So I was wondering, maybe this is the start of Rockabilly.
It will be eventually, but at this time, Billy is hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Basically, before the match, JR asks Hunter if he knows the girl who attacked Marlena straight up. And he says he doesn't know her, but he said he doesn't know her and he doesn't know anything about her, but he has a message for Goldust that, he's not worried about him, so on and so forth.
You know what bothered me the most about that shit? The fucking bell had already rung.
Yeah, and then they're interviewing him outside.
Like, what are you... I'm assuming the timekeeper must have fucked up and just didn't know they were getting ready to do that little quick thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what the fuck? The match just started. Like, why ain't the ref counting?
Yeah, I felt the same way. Bart Gunn doesn't even get an entrance in this match. Somehow he still goes over.
Because those boots?
That's got to be it. It's got to be the cowboy boots. Honky announces that he had 2 or 3 finalists, but they've all turned away from him, so he's got to start all over. I was a fan of that line. Otherwise, the only thing I got off from this match is Bart Gunn's belt buckle was loose for most of it.
Well, and Honky also says, I think he says two of them turned away from me, and one got hurt. So I'm like, hold up. The only person on TV right now we know is hurt is the man who just gave up the world title. Were you looking at Shawn Michaels for an Intercontinental run?
It could be, or he's looking at Billy Gunn.
That is probably the inference.
Yeah.
Now that you tell me that he was injured, but
yeah.
The couple of things I saw, when Hunter escapes through the crowd. Did we get there already? We didn't do that yet.
Oh yeah, I covered in the beginning. Goldust chases him out and through the crowd.
Okay, yeah. Goldust trips as soon as he gets over the guardrail.
And before he gets over the guardrail, he actually strikes Hunter with a punch, and he's still not DQ'd.
It's a count out. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, blows my mind.
It must have been. I gotta start writing this down. It must have been King. But he goes, the people are interfering again. Arrest them all. We're calling for a lot of arrests.
Yeah, we are.
Which, to jump back real quick, that would have really put the icing on the cake for the last attack from Stone Cold to Brett, and we would not have needed the Gorilla promo. We should have just finished off that segment the way they will soon finish off a myriad of segments. Just have Stone Cold arrested.
Yeah, they do it about 40 times the next 3 years. From there, after this match, Bart Gunn does get the win somehow, some way. There is an interview that they've been alluding to all night long. They are going to interview Dr. James Andrews, the famous orthopedic surgeon who is working with Shawn Michaels and his knee. They say that they have advised Shawn not to have surgery and to rehab the injury and check back in 6 weeks.
And he says that he'll be able to resume his wrestling career.
Yes, he announces eventually he should be able to.
Like wrestling? Is this the WCW doctor?
I don't know where Dr. James Andrews is, but I know he is legitimately a famous sports surgeon. So pretty cool deal. They got the actual guy to be on here.
This may be nothing, but on the nameplate when they first bring him up and you see his name, it says Dr. James Andrew MD. Is that common? Don't you normally do like James R. Andrew MD or Dr. James R. Like you don't usually do Dr. and MD.
Right. I would think not, but I'm not a doctor or an MD, so I don't know.
But do you play one on television?
I certainly do not.
It's a 90s joke, folks. This is a 90s podcast.
But after the interview with Dr. James Andrews, we finally get to our main event of the evening.
Third time is the charm, sir.
Third time is the charm. Psycho Sid comes out to face Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. At the end of the match, Bret Hart gets the sharpshooter on Sid near the ropes. Earl Hebner is the referee. He drops down and check on the submission. Austin, who previously was on the outside, pops up on the ring apron, hits Bret Hart with a chair over the head. Referee does not see it. Sid gets up to powerbomb Bret and pin him to become the new WWF champion 1 night after Bret Hart won it at Final Four. What'd you think of the match? What'd you think of the finish? What do you think of the new champion? And most importantly, what do you think of D'Lo Brown?
Oh, man. D'Lo Brown, I mean, his head wag is unmatched. His chest protector is unparalleled.
It is.
The match was fine. The weirdest thing to me, I think, in it is we've gone over recently. We've gone over, especially after Shawn leaving, that Bret is having to slide back into that babyface role.
Yep.
But he is very heelish in his tactics during this match. He's using the ropes. He's waiting out 5 counts. He's working the knee. Of course, that's perfect. But yeah, he's not breaking them, but he's bending the rules pretty hard.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. He definitely was. He had Sid's knee in the corner a lot, and he was really breaking the 5 count. Referee just had to break the hold.
Yeah, and then later on, he's even doing like the put his ankle up on the ropes and standing on it deal, whatever that maneuver is called. The other thing is, like, from a production standpoint, over the course of the night, we were promised, and I believe rolling right into this match, we were promised to see this match without commercial.
Oh my God, I have to note this too. Right at the beginning of the match, during the introductions, Jim Ross announces, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. That way we can bring you this match in its entirety. And then, 4 minutes in,
commercial,
we get, folks, we'll be right back after this commercial break. I said, what the fuck happened to the continuity there?
I mean, end all be all, though. At least they didn't break up the finish across the commercial breaks of La Femme Nikita.
True that. And we didn't have to watch Robin Hood to see it either.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was cool. The Sid tries a sunset. Well, I mean, he does it, but Sid tries a sunset flip. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Sid? You are 7 feet tall. Why are you coming off your feet to do any goddamn move?
Yeah. Other than that giant leg drop he does, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, that works. But man, yeah, but a flippy move?
Yeah.
Come on, son. Like,
yeah.
Have you forgotten how you shattered whatever that shin bone is?
Oh, that's later on from this.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, that hasn't happened yet.
He just don't know yet.
No, not at all. He's gonna learn real hard.
Oh, he's gonna learn today. Yeah, the Austin coming through the crowd, that was cool.
Yeah, let's cover that real quick. Austin comes through the crowd, and he goes after Sid first, but Sid's ready for him. And by the time Austin hits Sid on the outside, Sid turns and puts his foot up and just catches him with a big boot on the outside, which is pretty interesting that the guy who interferes just gets fucked up right off the rip.
Yeah, like it kind of almost begs the question, why?
No, I dug it.
Why did he interfere at all then? What was the I could see how in real life that might happen.
Exactly.
What was the purpose of having him?
That's it. The guy's so desperate to get in and get involved in the main event, the WWF title, that he's going to attack whoever, and oops, sometimes he's going to fail.
I mean that works if they keep him in this world title scene for a little while, that works. But as we know, he's gonna sink back down to the IC level.
Yeah, he's gonna switch out pretty quick. Actually, he goes to a non-title feud next with Brett, but we'll get there. That's now right. That Brett has lost the title, we can actually get there.
Speaking of Brett, I don't know if you noticed this. When it comes to power bombs,
this was super soft.
It was the softest, right?
Yeah. Oh, I called it. The girlfriend called it out. She goes, "Wow, he just laid him down." I said, "Right." right when he gets him up, he moves one hand around to underneath,
and cradles the small of the back. I was like, "Holy shit! That is the nicest power bomb I guarantee Sid's ever delivered."
I guarantee it. And Brett probably thanked him afterwards. But for us, it didn't look very effective. He still gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Interestingly enough, after the match, the arena breaks out into a Sid chant.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he's just playing up. This is the era of the tweener officially, because Sid is the heel. He is bringing on the Sid chant with his hands, and the crowd is eating him up.
Sid is the heel, and Brett's fucking breaking 5 counts.
That's it. It is quite the mix-up here. Eventually, after the match, Undertaker's music hits, the lights come out. Undertaker comes down to the ring and goes face-to-face with Sid. And they tell you before the match, basically, that whoever wins this match will be facing the Undertaker. So now we know that coming up to WrestleMania, we're going to see Undertaker Sid. We're going to see Bret Hart versus Austin. We're going to see all kinds of fun shit. We're going to see Ahmed and Farouk in a Chicago street fight. And actually...
Hold on. I thought you said fun shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Amazing shit.
Hey, because come on, let's just call it now. Farouk's gonna do his damnedest.
Damn.
But that is gonna be a Chicago shit show.
Let me hear your best Farouk impression. I've done it about 40 times.
Oh man. Hold on. Damn. Spot God. Yours is pretty spot on.
You gotta have all the bass.
I'll just turn it up in post. Turn yours down. Make you sound all tinny and shit.
I don't like it, guys. I'm gonna start producing the show. Brian will be covering everything else.
Man. So what the last comment I got for the show proper. In that when Undertaker comes out and they do that stare down, all I could think was that Sid is chins above Undertaker.
Yeah, Sid's obviously the bigger guy, and he's got a giant chin.
Oh, that it's like a doorknob. It's the only thing I can think of at the moment. It's like a fucking doorknob.
That's a good reference. But what do you think of the match overall? I know we didn't cover much of it. We kind of just covered Austin coming in and then the Undertaker after the fact.
Yeah, no, I thought the match was all right. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't dislike Sid, but I'd never expect much from him because of his size. Like he and everyone picks on Kevin Nash with the 5 moves of doom, but come on, man, he's fucking big as shit. What else is he supposed to do? So no, given that, like, I thought it was good, especially that Brett had him on his heels most of the time, and I can't say I love the finish because I wasn't really into the Austin interference.
Sure.
But beyond that, I liked it. My only complaint is Bret Hart putting Sid Vicious in the sharpshooter should never have happened. It looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, Bret can hardly get a hold of his long ass legs.
Yeah, it's just and it goes back to the thing you hear nowadays with new NXT guys coming up or whatever, they tell them, pick a move you can do on anyone. Like you got to be able to do it on Big Show.
Yes.
Well, fucking Brett Brett failed that test.
I've seen a lot of bad sharpshooters over the years too.
Hey, it's funny, like being that's his shtick. Like he'll throw a real sloppy one.
Yeah. Overall, I agree with you. I thought it was a pretty good match. Sid and Brett. This is the best Sid promo leading into a match. It's the best Sid match we've seen since we started. It's the first Brett singles match we've seen, other than some fucky interference stuff. Mm-hmm. So and even this one had some interference, so I guess that's not true. But nonetheless, pretty good title match. You don't see many change on Raw, so that was fun. For me, overall, I was pretty happy with it. And actually, this may be the best Raw we've seen yet.
I mean, I was about to say it. This is hands down the funnest Raw, the most fun Raw we've watched so far, because I was really, really into this one. I guess they fucked around too much during some of the matches.
Yes,
but beyond that, it was great. The even the bait and switch kind of thing, which I mean that was even kind of fun because I wanted to see how many times they were going to do it. But
no, I was into it because they kept pushing it back and making you think, is it going to happen?
Coming out of Final Four, you knew, going into Final Four, you knew this match in some capacity was going to happen. So whether it be Brett, Vader, Austin, or Undertaker, so you knew this match was going to happen on this Raw.
Yeah.
But if by some slim chance you didn't give one fuck about this match, you did by the time
it happened. Absolutely. I thought it was good TV, interesting wrestling, great matchups, and good storylines. The only issue I had was the interruptions, like you said. On a scale of 1 to 5 Ahmed wedgies, what would you give it?
I was gonna go. Actually, what I had written was a joke. I didn't get in, so it doesn't work. But I give it 4 out of 5 Ahmed wedgies.
4 out of 5 Ahmed wedgies. I will also give it a 4 out of 5 D-Lo head waggles. So there you have it, folks. That is our review of this episode of Raw 197. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit us with your feedback. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you think we should do for future shows. We're going to keep rolling. We're going to try to hit you with some bonus content on the down low soon. Pay attention to the AtomicDropcast.com. We're going to try to drop the exclusive stuff on there only.
100%. And apparently it's a big thing in podcasting. If you're out there listening, we're getting some pretty consistent listens each week. So if you're out there listening and if you're utilizing iTunes, if you're not, I get it. Fuck Apple, right? But if you're using iTunes, leave us a review. Everyone asks for 5 stars. Look, just whatever you think.
Yeah,
cool.
Give us a review. If you think we're shit, give us shit. We don't want shit.
We'd love to hear it. And feedback, you can contact us via atomicdropcast.com. There's a contact form and all that there. But of course, as always, we're on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, and hell, man, honestly, if you want to hear us, you can hear us. And the start to that journey is hit up atomicdropcast.com. Click the subscribe button at the top of the deal. It doesn't automatically subscribe you to anything. It just lets you know how you can if you wanted to.
Yes, sir. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter at Atomic Dropcast. Hit us up. We've even got a voicemail line. Check out the website. Check out the tweets. Check out the Facebook. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. And as always, Brian,
drop some knees on some asses.
Boom. That was good. Felt good. I need to drink liquor more often.
I need to drink it less.
We need to find a balance.
You're looking at the real deal now. Gonna kick this sorry ass out on the street. Is that what you got? Used to think